So to add equipment based on a team condition, just use the compare teams node and the branch node. And the two teams are the team of the player that spawned, and then just create a team variable for whichever team you want to compare them to, assuming you have two teams. If you had more than two teams, you would just have to use multiple compare teams conditions and multiple branches. And then on the condition that it is true, meaning they're on team Eagle, then you do one thing. If they're not on that team, then that means they're on the other team, and so you give them a different equipment. You can see on one team I have the repulsor, on the other team I have the grapple shot. That one is pretty simple to do. Now, if you want to do traits or weapons, I added those things can also be given based on team. So you create a trait set, which you can either use individual traits or a list. And so I gave one team an increased speed and one team bottomless clip, and I just added the apply trait set to the end of the node tree. And then the only thing you have to do in addition to that is when a player changes teams, you have to make sure to add some logic that gets rid of their trait sets. Otherwise, they'll get both trait sets, whichever one they initially spawned with, and then the second time they spawn. It'll just add the trait set to whatever they already have. And you can also give players new weapons pretty easily as well. Someone had asked about making like random weapons, because you can't choose random weapons as an option. This is a really bad way to do it. I don't really recommend it, but I have a node to give them the primary weapon, and then the secondary I made it random. So I just use like a random variable in between 1 and 5. You have to round it to a whole number, or else it'll give you a decimal. And then you just say if it's equal to 1, give them this weapon. If it's not equal to 1, then check and see if it's equal to 2. If that's true, give them a different weapon. And so this is only 5 weapons. It's not every weapon in the game. That would take, 25 of these. I don't know how many weapons there are. It would take a lot. So this is if you really want to have random weapons, this is one way I figured out how to do it, but it does not look nice, and I think it would be this is going to be easier. I mean, having random weapons seems pretty obvious. I guess another option would be to use Team Fiesta as your game mode, and then make the give new weapon can be used to give them a certain weapon type as a primary. And then I guess the other one would, follow the Fiesta rules, because the give new weapon node just replaces, you tell it to replace either primary or secondary. So I would just do a Fiesta game mode, maybe turn weapon pickup off, which I think should be the case in Fiesta anyway, but use Fiesta as your game mode, and then you can give them a primary in Forge, like I showed in the previous one. That would probably be an easier way to do this, but if you want to have a regular Slayer or a different kind of game mode and you want to add random weapons, this is the simplest way I could think of.